Wow, good morning. It's day 2 of our golf course, live from Rowney TV, and I'm joined by Piers Morgan himself. No, it's John Tinsley. What are we going to be talking about today?
Hi Jed, you're alright? Good morning anybody and everybody that's tuning in. I'd like to say good to be back here at this time of day, Jed, but I won't. But good to be indoors, that's for sure. Looks a bit rough out there.
Right, so yesterday we covered some good points. We had some great audience interaction, so please, if you're at home, join in with the commentary. John will be available to answer some questions, and please share with your friends if you think this little journey we're going on for another 9 days in our lockdown period, because there's only so much joyriding you can do on the buses apparently, so let's focus on our golf. So day 2, tell us what's the lesson about today, because I see we've got some little gimmicks there to help you along your way.
Yeah, I made this up this morning, Jed, just to try and illustrate a couple of the main points. We're talking about the importance of clubface today. And how little attention is paid to clubface. So let me just explain what I mean by the importance of clubface. When you stand on the 10th tee at Rowney and the wind's blowing off the left-hand side, I can assure you that the ball doesn't say, and have a mind of its own and say, I want to go in that field on the right or over the wall on the left. The golf ball only reacts to the force that you're putting on it. And the club face is designed to be delivered through the ball square to target, to hit the ball straight. If you impart a spin on the ball, then you're going to get a change in the ball flight. So the ball flight never lies. The ball flight will tell me and you exactly how you've struck the ball. So here's the issue. Let's look at it this way. I talked yesterday, didn't I, about the natural hold and how you feel comfortable in the hold on the club, and you'd be two separate hands, interlocking, overlapping, whatever. Let's have a look at how this affects club face to ball. Because your body moves, so your hands don't have to, but at the ball, the hands are going to get involved in releasing the club head through the ball. So one of the things I pointed out yesterday was that when you hold the club to have control of it with your left hand, it's in a position, and I'm going to use this hammer now, an old claw hammer. If I take that and hold it, if I put it underneath the club, I'm not going to deliver the hammer through the ball as I want to with the control I want. If I go over the top too much, it won't happen. So there's my natural hold. And what I want to be doing is no different than hammering a nail, is I want to be coming in square to the ball. Square to the ball. And you notice that when I'm coming in square to the ball, this left wrist stays flat, and there it goes square to the ball, square to the ball. If I was hammering a nail in, it would be that, square, straight. Now, when I do that, even though I'm right-handed, I do that with a natural movement. It's straight down into an amount. If I take this, my screwdriver, and I wanted to hammer that down, I would literally hammer straight down. Now, if I don't hit this square this way, and drive it straight down, and I catch it on the side, then it will create a different angle for that to go in. It will create a spin on there, and it will change the flight of the ball, or will change the way that the nail is bent or whatever. If I do the same with the right hand, straight down. Now, if I'm going to hit a golf ball, I'm going to be at around about 35 degrees with an iron, and I'm going to come in on that angle, and I want to go square to target. So if I put a club in there, then that club is going to be square to the ball, to the target. And all I'm doing is changing the angle and delivering the club square to ball to target. Now, what people don't understand is that you need to have your attention on delivering that club face square to target. And this is where the hands come in as well. So look. If I'm going to go in here with my left hand and I'm going to hit the ball, there it goes, and there's my impact position. That's exactly the club face position. If I bring my right hand and do it, I go in there and it's exactly the same. But if I bring them both in, then you'll see that my left wrist is straight here and my right wrist is slightly cupped. And then as I go through the ball, I release the target. Now, there was a time when Homer Kelly wrote his book, The Golfing Machine, where he proposed that what happened was that just before impact the club face was slightly open, at impact it was square, and immediately post impact it was closed, and we rotated through it that way. The computer systems and analysis today say that actually we stay square to target more often. Now, if you want to get the ball straight and more consistently, you send the club to the middle of the ball, the ball to the middle of the club, square to target, and you will create the right spin on the ball, which is just straight that way, and the ball will fly high. As soon as you come in over this way, or go that way, or you close the face, you put the spin on it, will send the ball the way that you don't want. So when you stand on the 10th tee, you try and hit the ball harder because you're scared of the ball going to the right and you want to get distance to clear the field. I'm telling you, put more spin on it generally. You hit the ball too hard, put more spin and the ball flies. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at what happens with our hands here. So if I go in there and I want to hit it square to target, there it is. Same with the right hand, square to target. If I want to hit the ball, swing down, all I'm going to do is that. It doesn't change. I don't flick it. I can't hit it from here. I just do that. Same with the right hand. I do that. What changes if I want to hit the ball on it? If I want to swing on the up, I do that. And you see, everything changes, stays the same. So I move the body in there and I deliver it with the hands and release to target. But what we don't do, Jed, is we don't put any attention on what our club face is doing. And the club face dictates ball flight. So what I say to people is this: you have to have your attention on something. So putting your attention on your club face through the ball at impact changes everything that you do in golf. Now, the reason I say that is because it doesn't really matter, does it, whether you manipulate the club face closed up here, open up there, shut down here, open here, but as long as you get the ball back to square to ball target line and keep it on the ball target line and send it to target. Now, I know, I believe that you've actually put your attention on this, haven't you? And you've found that your ball flight has changed.
It has, and really that's my kind of swing thought and my aim at the moment is to have that square face and work on how to have that going through the shot. And because, of course, there are some telltale signs that when you do hit a bad shot, an errant shot, and it goes low and left, well, that's telling you something, isn't it?
Well, you deliver the club to completely wrong. The ball has reacted to the force that you've applied to it. So if I go and I want to knock this down as a peg in here, and I hit it, and I keep hitting it, down it goes. As soon as I hit it on the edge, it changes and it would bend the nail. And it will bend the shot if you hit the ball in the wrong way with the wrong delivery of force. Now, if I then want to adjust that, I don't start thinking, well, I've got to make sure my club head is here, the face is, or the hammerhead is there, I've got to do this, my hand's in this. You don't do it. You automatically make an adjustment and bring it back. Now, I'm saying that your body will know and you can be aware of what the club face is doing at the ball without trying to fix it. Now, the way that you practice it, and you practice it in lockdown, is you can certainly do it with your hands like this, and you can say, look, there's my square position. That's how I feel I can hit the ball. That's square. Right hand, that's square. That's square. You notice how I'm coming in square into square. You can imagine a ball floating in here. I'm coming down on the shot more, down on the shot more, going up, and look at the hands are the same, hands are the same, hands are the same. And then what you do is you take your club and you just, on your lawn, and you're just there, and you just go back a few inches and come into square. Back a few inches and come into square. And there you go. And then you deliver it more and more and more, and you just become aware of this club face being square on the you can put a T-peg down, at impact it's square. So build it up that way. Now, if you look at the top players as well in the game now, their manipulation, some of them, of the club head and face in the swing is absolutely amazing. Dustin Johnson, his club head is all over the place. Ram is all over the place, and yet they deliver the club square or as they want every time at the ball, don't they? Pretty much every time. So all of this, you can go inside, outside, up, down. Obviously, there's a certain way that will make it easier for you. But as you come into the ball here, the club face needs to be square. And I would suggest that a vast majority of players have no idea about the club face at impact.
So tell me, John. Tell me, this appears too simple, isn't it? Certainly, over the next 10 days, we can practice just this little section of the swing at the bottom of the swing on just having a square face going through impact. Are there any drills that, like you said, that we could just work on? Because this is like the holy grail to a good golf shot, isn't it?
Yeah, well, as the ball flight never lies, your divot won't lie either, will it? So you can have a look at your divot. You can do it on the lawn. You can draw a line. You can have an external thought about how the club fit on the swing path in there. But the key issue is to have the club face square. Now, generally speaking, if you come into this big ball left to right and you put this spin on it and away it goes to the right hand side, as a lot of players do, generally speaking, it's because you've come out. They talk about over the top and throwing it, all of those things. But you're coming into the ball with a closed club face and swinging left. If you can put let's say a bag or a head cover, whatever you like, just away from the tee peg and a little bit to the right of the tee peg, and bring yourself in and square and make sure you don't hit the head cover, it'll give you a feeling of how that club head is delivered to the ball. But it's having your attention on the club face. When you learn to ride a bike, nobody tells you how to balance. When you hit the nail and you drive it in, nobody tells you how to deliver the hammer. And it's the same with a golf club. It's a natural movement. It's a throw. It's a release. It's a send. One of the things I will say is, though, when you talk about practicing and clubs and whatever, we've got to remember that the idea of an iron is that you hit the ground after you've hit the ball. After you've hit the ball. So the delivery of the club face is square to the ball and into the ground after you've hit the ball. Some great shots from Florida last week about the impact and then explosion of turf after the impact. So you're hitting it after the ball, and if you can see that your divot is starting after where the ball was and is square, and then slightly turns at the end and is deeper at the end of the divot, then that's absolutely perfect. That's what you want to make. So you can look and learn from your divot. You can learn from your position at impact. You can visualize it, you can see it, and you can certainly become aware of how that left side here, this left wrist is square, is flat. There it goes, and then you release. When you look at woods and fairway woods, it's more of a sweep, but you still brush the ground in front of the ball. And a lot of people don't realize that the clubs are set on these angles. There's an old-fashioned niblick. Okay, there it is. There's a niblick. The angle on that. Now, when you come in steep on that and you hit down on that, again, the left wrist is straight. Because of the angle and the way that you're coming to the ball, it will create the spin. And the spin will get the ball up in the air quicker. That's what wedges do. They'll get them up in the air quicker than a 2-iron or a 4-iron or a 5-iron. So you need to be aware of the angle into the ball. And about 35 degrees is about it for middle clubs. Into the ball, 35 degrees, club face absolutely square. And if you get the club face square, by the way, you're more likely to retain shaft lean, which is that, at impact. We tend to lose shaft lean when the club starts to be manipulated at the ball. So getting into the ball square is the first thing. Now, the next thing I would say is that you can then start, once you get that, to understand how a little change in shape at impact will change the shape of your shot. So if you want to hit the ball left to right, all you've got to do is leave the club face slightly open at impact. And you will put the spin on it and it'll drift left to right. If you want to go right to left, all you have to do is be aware that at impact, the club face is slightly closed. And I would suggest what you do is you really start to be curious about how the club face dictates the swing path of the ball. And when you go to a shot on the golf course, by the way, and this I think is absolutely critical. You have to have your attention on something. And there's no better thing to have your attention on and that other than the club face at impact. People start to swing and they think, don't go right, don't go left. Are my hands here? Is this right? Am I balanced? It's not about that. It's about the key thing is your club face through the ball. And if you were to put your attention on knowing that it's square at impact, you'll hit the centre of the club more often. The ball will go straight. The spin will be correct on the ball. So start paying attention to club face at impact. So what do you think of that, Jed? What's your
my thoughts are that during lockdown we've got an ideal opportunity. A lot of us are playing solo and we're not playing in any competition, so why not just take a couple of opportunities to hit shots. Right, I'm going to hit so many shots on the bounce with an open face 7-iron and just see what happens. And I'm going to swing.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to swing at a lower rate. I'm going to swing at, say, 80%. And
right.
And I think just to get that control and just learn, because no one's watching. You're playing on your own. We're not in a competition. This is the time to just learn by experience what happens with the ball.
Well, that's a great point about spins, and I'll come on to that before we finish now. When you get the club and you get down on the ball and you go into the shot and you get at it like this and you're steep on the shot, you will impart more spin. More spin means, in our windy conditions, more spin means more trouble. It means less distance generally. And we spoke about this, didn't we, the other week, about how you get into the fifth hole and the elite players don't have a worry about getting over the hill. And that's because you can still get distance and height. With a lot of players, they can't get the height and distance. So when you are playing into wind on the golf course, it is better to take speed off the club face. It's better to swing softer and easier, because the more spin you put on the ball, the higher and more flighty and more affected by the wind the ball will become. So take 1, 2, even 3 clubs less, swing easier, take the spin off it, and deliver the club face with more club square to your ball target line. Be aware of what that club face is delivering through the ball, the power it's delivering, and how you send it to target. If you want to hit the ball left to right, and that's your stop shot, that's not a problem. What becomes a problem is if you go hard at it and you start to bring the club face across the ball and it's not square at impact or it's not slightly open. So controlling this is it. This club face is it. Being aware of club face through the ball is it. Put your attention on what your club face is doing. Don't try and fix it. Become aware of what it's doing. You don't have to fix it. You will know whether it's square or not. You'll know with your eyes closed. Swing with your eyes closed. If I go there and I get this club here and I swing with my eyes closed one-handed, I know that club is square. And it is square. I can't show it. It's absolutely square. And I know that if I do that, it's open. And I know that if I do that, it's closed. So you know. We all know. It's inbuilt in us to know. And you can tell if that ball is going left to right with a big old curve, you can bet your bottom dollar you've come on that outside line with a closed club face and gone straight across it and parted that spin. And so if you then put your attention on saying, right, I'm going to swing it nice and easy here, and I'm having full attention to be aware of that club face going into the ball there, square, and to target. Not low down here, square to target and let it go. It'll change everybody's game.
Well, just think how many shots you can make up. I think about, say, Pete Holt, our club steward, who's notorious for having a slice virtually on everything. And I think just to correct this, and we're talking his drive, it's consistent, he's got a lovely swing, good tempo, but it will float down and there'll be a huge bend at the end, and you think, gosh, if that could converted into extra distance off the tee, he could be having an extra 15, 20 yards on his drive and having less of a club to hit into the green.
Right, well, the drives is very interesting. The drive is a, and this is where we'll talk about again how these different lofts on clubs affect the spin and the height and the flight and everything. Drive is slightly different. It's the only game in golf where you don't hit the ground. I mean, obviously putting's a little stroke, but you don't hit the ground. And it's the only swing in golf where you hit the ball on the up. So what tends to happen with a golfer on his drive that does that is he tends to hit the ball on the downswing and impart too much spin on it. He's coming almost like an iron. So what I would want to do on a driver is tee the ball up a lot higher. And I haven't got a driver to demonstrate, but I would be looking to do that and hit the ball here with a square face and send it on the up, because you've only got 10, 12 degrees or whatever of loft. So you have to send the ball in the air to do that. And what generally happens with people who are doing that shot is they tend with a long club to come down on the ball, across it, and put this huge spin on it. So knowing that the club face here has got to go into the ball square that way, on the up, changes the whole perception of what it is you're delivering through the ball. Irons are down into the ground in front of the ball, drivers are up and out. So it's how that club face is going into the ball. You don't want a driver coming in that way to the ball, which is what tends to happen. It puts a spin on it and sends it to the right. You need it that way. But again, it's an awareness of club face. How the club face interacts with that ball square to your target line. Now, you might not want it square all the time, but the starting point here is, can I deliver it square? Because that'll keep the ball straight.
Well,
takes all the pressure off.
There we have it, John. I think on day 6 we come into longer clubs and the driver and so forth. So we can revisit that. Tomorrow, of course, we've got day 3 and it's putting. So what have we got to look forward to there?
Putting, holding more putts. Avoiding 3 putts. No, avoiding 3 putts. Right, pace, how to set up, how to practice, how to feel, how to get on with it, literally maintain your score. Putting is 40% of the shots. But you know what? Doesn't matter how good your putting was. I mean, you heard the saying, haven't you? Drive for show, putt for dough. You're not going to putt for a lot of dough if you're hacking it out of the rough all day long, are you?
Precisely.
You've got to keep the ball. Keeping the ball straight is a major issue. So now the less, go on.
So say tomorrow, the viewers, could they bring their putters with them in their dressing gowns and pajamas, and maybe have a bagel on the floor to
learn that? Do that. Why not? Yeah, do that for sure. Why not? Why not? We can do that. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, and this just one final thing about this issue about the club face. You've got to be so attuned to your club face that you've got to know where the ball's coming off, where are you hitting it? Is it off the toe? Is it off the bottom? Is it towards the heel? You can become much more aware of your club face. And once you get that, then you can start to have more control of your ball flight. So get into your club face, be aware of your club face, that's what I'm saying.
This is quite significant, folks. I've played golf for donkey's years, over 40 years, and I'd never really had any awareness to this. And it's in this last year or so, is this square position at impact, and then starting to experiment with not having it straight and then seeing what happens. And that way, your body has the experience of hitting these shots. And it kind of gets ingrained in your muscle memory. I think that's the way to do it. And at these times where you can practice, why not? Why not just go out and say to yourself, "I'm going to hit a load of low hooky ones for the next few holes and just see how it works," or move it the other way.
Well, one of the things I think, Jed, the easiest way to do it, the first way I start with people is this: I say, right, we're going to get this club square through the ball at impact, and I'll say, I want you to hit it lower. And I will say, I want you to hit it higher. And they'll say, well, how do you do that? And I'll go, well, you know how to do it. And then they'll get there, and they'll start there, and they'll start to get the club face in here. They're still going to be square at impact, but the ball will go higher or the ball will go lower. Now, there's a story about, I think it's Sam Snead, and it might have been the 18th hole at Augusta or something like that. Sam Snead was a big right-to-left player. And he, that 18th hole, and it's a left to right shot, and he hits booms one down the middle, left to right, and his playing partner's what? And I said, Sam, I can't believe that. You said you're a big drawer of the ball, a hooker of the ball, and you've just hit that ball left to right. He said, how do you do that? He said, it's easy, son. He said, I just think left to right. Yeah. And your body works it out. Now, and I will say this as well, people get hooked up on the fact that they can't hit the ball right to left, and they all this left to right. The vast majority of tour players prefer to hit the ball left to right. What they don't do is they don't hit it left to right and only go 100 yards. They have this power fade. They get through the ball here with a slightly open face and still go to target, and it just drives it there and it just fades to the right because it lands softer. And they just let it fade in there. Westwood's are left to right. Justin Johnson are left to right. Most of them are left to right because it's very damaging right to left. Because the spin you put on it is overspin, and it carries on and rolls and rolls and rolls and doesn't check so much. So nothing wrong with a left to right shot. Don't fight it, but don't let it get away from you. Get your club face in there as square as you can. Look at your hands. Look at your hands at this ball. Look at the hand at the ball. There it is, at the ball. There's your square impact. That will be my club face at impact. If my hands are like this, my hands are like that, then I cannot get the club face square. So start with delivering your hands to that position and then releasing them square through the ball. Okay?
Lovely. Well, thank you very much, John. Some simple messages there. Maybe it's time to raid the toolbox and start knocking some nails into an old piece of wood that you might have knocking around. But these really are simple things to do. What's that?
Well, I've stuck an old shaft, Jed. I've stuck an old shaft in a claw hammer here. Look. Oh. Okay, see that? Right. All I do is I get my right hand on it here, stand there, and I just swing it back and look at the club, the hammerhead square. I could put a peg on there. I could have, but really, what I want to do is I want to have a stake in the ground like that. And I want to be coming into it at about 35 degrees and doing it with my left hand as well. And there it is. I've got just this old shaft in there. Bang, square. Club face is square. Hammer face is square. Put both hands on it. Hammer face is square. It's square. I put the club in my hand. It's no different. It's square. It's square. It's square. Everything is square. Get attention on this. Everything around this bit and this bit is important, but it's this what happens here in the ball. That's the important bit. How you get it to that position and how it stays there. Put more attention on it and you'll get a better game.
He's ahead of his time.
Are we done?
Yeah, remember that Greg Norman had these clubs called Tiger Shark. You've got your own brand now called Hammerhead. What about that?
Hammerhead Shark.
Get it patented.
Oh, the great white.
That's it.
The great white. Yeah, there we go. There it is. There it is. Just a hammer. Hole in the bottom. Just get it in there. Just get a hammer, put it in. Just see how you deliver that. And if you were knocking that nail in, there it is, look. Get a hold of it. There it goes. In it goes. Straight through. Straight through. There it is.
Yeah, but just a warning to anyone that's thinking of burgling John Tinsley's house. Just remember, he's got an offensive weapon.
Listen, I've got a mallet downstairs. It's this big. Look, there it is. I just put a ball down on this, by the way. I can do it with here. With a ball. There's the hammer. Ball. Square. Get a hammer.
There we go. Right,
that's how you do it.
We'll wind it up. Thank you so much, John. Tune in tomorrow. We're talking about putting, and we'll be on again at 8:30. Thanks for joining in, and please share, comment, and get involved. But enjoy your golf.